It was 2017 and Gennady Golovkin was positioning himself as one of the strongest contenders worldwide. Remaining undefeated since his debut, Gennady managed to emulate the energy of the toughest fighters of all time. As a result, the list of potential opponents was long. Any brave warrior longed for the opportunity to be the one to give Golovkin his first harsh reality check, even if it meant risking being added to his already extensive list of casualties. Suddenly, a name captured the attention of the sport's fans: Daniel Jacobs. Jacobs was announced as the next big challenge in Gennady's rise to glory. What transpired in the ring was unprecedented. Welcome. In today's video, you will witness one of the most brutal moments in the professional careers of both Golovkin and Jacobs. Viewer discretion is advised, as the images you are about to see may be disturbing. Gennady Golovkin debuted on May 6, 2006, when he faced Gabor Balog in the ring of the Burgwächter Castle in Dusseldorf. There, he needed only 1 minute and 28 seconds to secure a clean knockout victory. Since then, he became a kind of grim reaper in boxing. His list of contenders turned one by one into his list of casualties. Unfortunate souls claimed by the force of his fists, breaking them down to their very spirits with an offense that over the years no one seemed to decipher, let alone neutralize. For his part, Jacobs debuted on December 8, 2007, defeating Jose Jesus Hurtado by technical knockout in the first round of a 4-round fight. His outcome seemed as positive as Gennady's until 2010, when, on July 31st, Dmitry Pirog defeated him by technical knockout due to injury at 57 seconds of the 5th round.
But I don't think it was intentional, and I don't think it was...
Oh, down goes Jacobs on a perfect right hand!
This first setback would be a trial by fire for Jacobs, who recovered to continue adding victories to his professional record. This quality led him to face, as one of the greatest challenges, the prodigy from Karaganda, Kazakhstan. The fight on March 18, 2017, in the legendary ring of Madison Square Garden, both fighters faced their destiny. Golovkin entered the fight as the number 1 in the world middleweight rankings, but he was closely followed by Jacobs, who was ranked number 2. Therefore, it was no surprise when it was announced that the World Boxing Association, WBA, International Boxing Federation, IBF, World Boxing Council, WBC, and International Boxing Organization, IBO, middleweight world titles would be on the line. Judges Steve Weisfeld, Max DeLuca, and Don Trella were tasked with naming a worthy representative of these organizations, assuming the power of their fists didn't settle it first. With Charlie Fitch as the third man in the ring, the fight began. Round 1. From the first moment, Gennady appeared dominant. He took control of the center of the ring and forced Jacobs to fight at the edge of the ropes. Jacobs was not exactly a passive fighter, extending his left hand to test Golovkin's guard. Once both fighters felt confident enough, the first attacks began to unfold. However, this round was more of a feeling out round for both.
Extra where you've got to be very wary of what you're dealing with.
Oh, absolutely, but look, we are in New York.
Round 2. Gennady came out of his corner determined to corner Jacobs, and he succeeded. He backed him up until his back hit the ropes, and when Jacobs had no other choice, he was forced to engage in a clinch. Golovkin was already throwing bombs, while Jacobs focused on avoiding these blows landing on his body. Occasionally extending his left, Jacobs also seemed to have a plan. In the last minute of the round, he abandoned his passive stance, and his good footwork in lateral movements kept him active.
Dictated by Golovkin.
Round 3, Gennady repeated the formula that had made him the aggressor in the previous 2 rounds, but Jacobs seemed to know it well enough. Before opting for a clinch, he tried his luck, attempting to neutralize it with his left hand. Golovkin remained the primary aggressor, but there was another bad guy waking up in the ring. It seemed increasingly unlikely that a simple knockout victory before the halfway point of the fight was a probable scenario.
Good body shot there by Golovkin as he gets in range.
Round 4. Jacobs seemed to be getting comfortable fighting at the edge of the ropes when, in an instant, he hit the canvas. A lethal right hand from Gennady was enough to send him crashing into the ropes and lying on the floor for a few moments.
Discussions. Good right hand, and down goes Jacobs. Golovkin puts Jacobs down.
Jacobs got up at the count of 3 but took the mandatory 8 count from Fitch. When he returned to the fight, Gennady's left hand paired with that tenacious right, attempting to break him. Down once again. But Jacobs showed great strength, keeping his guard up and surviving to tell the tale of another round.
Fight. He knows that he expected to get hurt. Maybe not drop, but he expected to get hurt.
Golovkin goes to the body.
Round 5. Jacobs came out of his corner with great caution. Gennady quickly drove him against the ropes and attacked without showing an ounce of mercy. For his safety, Jacobs had no choice but to clinch. Throughout the round, Jacobs tried to launch his own attacks, but Golovkin's aggressive fighting style left little room for another protagonist. Gennady's strength made him appear like an impenetrable fortress against his opponent's punches.
Has it taken a round yet, Chris?
I gave him the third round. It was close, but 39-36 in favor.
Round 6, Jacobs attempted to stay in the center of the ring at the start of the 6th round. However, Gennady advanced like an avalanche, forcing him to retreat. Golovkin's left hand sought to connect with Jacobs' chin at every opportunity, while Jacobs struggled to keep him at a distance and avoid facing him directly.
He does that early on here in round number 6 as Golovkin starts to stalk and walk.
The first half of the scheduled rounds had definitely not tipped the scales in Jacobs' favor. He needed to change his projection in the eyes of the judges if he wanted even a chance of defeating the Golovkin machine in a decision.
That's normally the case. You don't do it to be effective. You do it just to buy some time.
Round 7. Jacobs tried to steal the rhythm of the fight from Gennady just before being pushed to his limit once again. Now, he seemed fearful of how close Golovkin was getting, and it was no wonder when within reach, Jacobs had to withstand brief but powerful combinations that hit his body like guided missiles.
And encouragement as well, even saying good job, and that was a good round 6 for Daniel.
Round 8. Any attempt by Jacobs to regain control of the fight was quickly neutralized by Gennady's violent offense. His only chance lay in Golovkin lowering the intensity of his attacks at some point, but Golovkin seemed like a train that didn't know how to stop its march toward victory. Jacobs landed some good body shots during the last minute of the round, but he needed more flashes of offensive brilliance if he wanted to be a real threat to Gennady.
Seen Golovkin fight, Jacobs fight.
Round 9. Jacobs started by throwing punches, but Gennady quickly responded with his own. As had been the case since the first round, Golovkin had no trouble pushing him to the limit, cornering him at times. From his defensive position, Jacobs didn't seem to know how to counterattack. Thus, sticking to his guard was his safe play. During the final seconds, in the center of the ring, one of the most exciting exchanges of the fight took place so far.
Like he did right there.
Little giddy up at the step there from Golovkin as he...
Round 10, Jacobs seemed more interested in close-range exchanges. With the judge's decision approaching, he knew he had to bring out the heavy artillery to add the final points to his scorecard. Anyone who thought Golovkin would run out of energy in the final stretch was wrong. Gennady showed great stamina, never lowering his guard or the intensity of his offense. Eventually, this led Jacobs to be pinned against the ropes once again.
And Golovkin, another thing he does to resemble the great Chavez is...
Round 11. Gennady wasn't going to leave any loose ends. He cornered Jacobs, punished him with body combinations, and didn't give him a second to catch his breath. Jacobs tried to keep up, but it was too late. He was far behind and could only follow in Gennady's wake. The punches nearly continued after the bell.
Exchange right there. Jacobs took that, and that took well.
Big end to
Round 12. The final round was worthy of the fighters who starred in it. Tenacious punches flew back and forth from one corner to another, crashes against the ropes, pressure, and the drive of two true warriors fighting for victory. In the last minute of the fight, Gennady sought to reaffirm his triumph. But this time, Jacobs knew it was all or nothing, and he refused to give up the center of the ring. After the final bell, Jacobs collapsed against the ropes near his corner. The exhaustion was real, though he had worked hard throughout the fight to disguise it.
With a monster like Golovkin.
The Miracle Man drops to his knees after 12 hard rounds.
Judges' decision moments of tension filled the air as the announcer took the center of the ring to reveal the results according to the judges' scorecards. Suddenly, the tension was broken. A new champion was crowned. Gennady Golovkin defeated Daniel Jacobs by unanimous decision in the 12th round. Once again, Madison Square Garden was the place where dreams of glory came true. Conclusion. If you've made it this far, remember that the best way to support my content is by leaving a like on the video. Do you think Daniel Jacobs deserved this victory, or did the judges rightfully rule in favor of reason? I'll be reading your thoughts in the comments.